Hi, and welcome to Diversity in the Community. I am your host, Teresa Harris. I was so honored today, earlier, to have Monique Coleman with me and had her read an article that I found out on Facebook. I was so inspired and touched by her article that I invited her to come and be a part of the show. So after you watch a portion of what we recorded earlier of Monique reading her autobiography, I know that you would be as touched as I was.
During my junior year in high school, I received news that ultimately would change my life forever. Unfortunately, it was not news that would have helped place me on the path to success. It was something that would have made my path to success much harder. I was pregnant at 16. Towards the end of my junior year, I dropped out of high school. I was undereducated and a teen mom, depending on government aid to provide basic living needs for my child. I realized without an education, I would continue facing financial hardship. I set my sights on obtaining my diploma and enrolled in a GED program. After numerous failed attempts, I enrolled in cosmetology school. After completing 1 year, I withdrew, left my parents' home, and began working full-time as an unlicensed beautician. Shortly after I began working, my life took another turn. I found myself in a custody dispute. I almost lost guardianship of my son. During this time, I felt lost, afraid, alone, and hopeless. Then I heard these words of wisdom from Pastor Johnny Wilson of St. John's Full Gospel Deliverance Church. If you don't have the bad, you don't have the good. Remember to use negative things as stepping stones. Fighting to keep my son made me realize how important education was. It was at that point I decided to enroll in Hartford Public Schools' adult education program. I obtained my high school diploma and graduated with honors. I re-enrolled in cosmetology school and received my license. I went on to receive my CDA in early childhood. Aimed at wanting stability, I began working full-time and later got married and had 2 more children. After 10 years of employment, I lost my job and my spouse and daughter both became ill. Finding myself unemployed again, I decided to attend community college. After receiving an associate's degree in health science, magna cum laude, I transferred to Springfield College. Soon after starting Springfield College, my son became ill and I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. If that weren't enough, I became a victim of sexual assault. I found myself struggling, emotionally angry, and confused. Despite the circumstances surrounding me, I was determined to obtain an advanced degree since I knew it would only help me better provide for my family. With a strong desire for learning, I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Human Service, magna cum laude. 2 years later, I earned a Master's of Science from Springfield College, summa cum laude, Pi Gamma Mu International Honor Society. I defied the odds. I found myself working full-time, trying to meet demands of school, taking care of sick loved ones, and being a mother, sister, aunt, and friend, all while trying to conquer fibromyalgia and recovering from a traumatic experience was very challenging. I am a very religious individual, and without doubt, I know God is always there for me. I truly believe my faith during these difficult times supported me.
Wow, that was powerful. Now I want to introduce you to the young woman that really touched my heart. Now, I've been knowing Monique ever since she was a child, I think. And I would always see her around the church, always smiling. And you know how it is when you know people, but you don't really know them. And until I read her article, I didn't realize all the struggles that she went through to be where she is today. And I am so pleased and honored to have her here sitting with me today. And I'm going to ask her a few questions. So, Monique, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
It's an honor to have you with me today.
Thanks.
Now, I want to ask you a few questions. And I think that the reason why I wanted you to be on the program today is because there are so many young women out there struggling, you know, trying to make it. Some of them have children. They don't think they have no way out. But according to your article, there is a way out. Mm-hmm. So first of all, I want you just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, as you know, I'm Monique Coleman. I am a mother. I'm a wife. I'm currently employed. I work at two jobs. I work at the hospital and blood lab. And I also work for Our Piece of the Pie, which is an agency that serves youth ages 14 to 24 years of age. Mm-hmm. And okay. I love to go to church.
Okay. And you have, how many children do you have?
I have 3 children.
3 children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wonderful. What was school like for you when you were a teenager?
So for me, transition prior to high school has always been an issue for me. And so I was growing up in a neighborhood, very, very good neighborhood. In the 80s, drugs came and tried to, infest the neighborhood. So my mom decided to move us to Bloomfield, Connecticut. And so I attended Bloomfield High School. And because transition was hard for me, it was really hard for me to go to school in a traditional, high school, build friendships, because what happened is a lot of the friends that I had, I no longer really had contact with them because they lived in a different town.
Yeah.
And so now I'm moving into a new town trying to develop friendships, but some of those friendships were already developed prior to me coming to that town. I had a little attitude in high school, and so the teachers didn't understand my background. We at that time didn't have wraparound services to help the child holistically. So I found high school to be very challenging for me.
Now, when you say wraparound services, what does that actually mean?
Wraparound services means that you have services in the school that children can use that would help them move forward successfully. So services around maybe helping me with my attitude or just trying to find out a little bit more about me without just assuming that I was just a troubled teen.
So they're like counselors almost?
Yeah, counselors.
Okay.
And, yep.
All right. Okay. All right.
And so when you can just have a one-on-one relationship with that would help you with certain obstacles. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tell me 2 significant events or experiences that impacted your life and explain what effect they had on you.
Well, as you know from my article, I mentioned how I was a teen mom. I got pregnant at 16, and that was a time where most of my friends were enjoying, their youth. They were talking about what they were going to do when they were going to go to college, and they had all these big dreams, whereas me, I had to be responsible because I had another life outside of myself.
Right.
And I think the second one was obtaining my degree, was through everything else, obtaining my college degree.
Wow, I saw the pictures out there. I'm like, oh, go girl.
Yes, my proud moments.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
What are some of the other challenges that you had to deal with in your life?
I'm still a little raw with these challenges, but I'm being molested, sexually assaulted. Those were some of the obstacles that I had to go through because when you've experience those things as a young lady, you sometimes don't want to share those experiences because of the impact you get or the viewpoints you get from those things happening to you. So as if you're not just a victim, but you're the victim again, because people don't either believe you or they think that you cause those things to happen to you.
I never understood how people could think that a child would want to cause something like that. How can somebody not believe a child?
And it does happen. It happens time and time again.
Yes.
And another issue is that we tell our children that most of the times when those things happen, we say stranger danger. But most of the times when young women and even young men experience those bad touching, feeling things, it's usually from people you know,
people that
within
they know.
your circle.
Right. And I found out from talking to other people who have been abused, it's someone that the family trusts. They gain the trust of the family. So if somebody say, whoever, uncle, cousin, or whatever, did something like that, a friend, it's no way, because they gain the trust of the family first, and then they prey on the child.
Yeah, and it's also, I experienced it later on in life as well, and so you get to a safe haven where you feel like you're in an environment where you feel safe, and you let your guard down, and those things happen again. And when you bring those issues up as a young lady or as a young adult, again, it's looked at you as being, or you were the one who caused it, you initiated it, or what did you do? It's never the victim just had an issue and they did this. It's always reflected back on the victim.
And so you really have a lot of background that you can really counsel young women who have gone through this, and let them know that that is not your fault.
It's not. It's not. And you wind up getting into abusive relationships because your mindset starts to tell you that this is what people want from you. And as long as you continue to give it to them, they're going to like you. You're going to be accepted. So there's a whole level to it that people don't understand unless they've actually walked through it and experienced it.
Wow, wow, wow. What do you think is important for people to know, especially young women? And I have a heart for young women because I'm on a few boards that, I'm on Connecticut Alive that deals with women who have been abused. So I really have a heart for women, young men too, but the heart is, mostly for the women. So what do you think is important for people to know?
That when young women, young mothers have children, it's important for them to have a support system. It's key, not just for the mother, but for the child, because we don't think about the latter. When the child gets older and the mom gets older, that child may feel impact from the decisions that mother made, if they're not getting the proper nourishment, if they're not having, male figures and positive male figures in their lives, that triggers issues within that child. They may have mental illness, right? That may be it. They may become abusers themselves. They may be, they might be a victim and become abused. So there's a cycle. So key thing is just we need love and we need support. Young women, I should say, need love and they need support, and they need to know that they are not alone in the struggle, and we need to stop making them feel like they are alone because they're not alone.
Girl, I could just see you just helping so many people, even with this program, and I'm praying that it just goes out and touch, so many young women, and just when they see you, it's going to be inspiration anyway, and how far you've come with with the struggles you've gone through. So you kind of told me a little bit, but I want to know some more about what you're involved in now, and what are your hopes for your future? I mean, what do you plan to do like later on?
Well, now that I finished school, My ultimate dream is to be a director over an agency where, you know, I can impact lives. Prior to my current job as a youth coach, I worked as an education service specialist. And that job was rewarding because I learned a lot, but at the same time, I didn't feel like I was impacting lives. And now that I've gained so much, and I've had my prayer partners behind me, praying me through, my loved ones being there to support me, you know, it's time to give back. I just reached out to the pastor, Apostle Wilson, my father in Christ, to meet with him about my next step of being a minister. Because I think that before I can counsel anyone, I need to first become an advocate of God, and then I can advocate those, because, you know, when you want to counsel people, you want to make sure you're counseling them the right way, and you're directing them in the right way, because you can tear, if you say the wrong thing, you can tear someone up, or you can direct them the wrong way. And so we need to make sure that we understand what we're doing before we do it.
Because in the churches, there are a lot of hurting people coming into churches, but they will not share the type of story that you told to everyone. So to have that story and that testimony when people come into church, having someone like you that would understand that, you know, because there are a lot of people that maybe they've been in church all their life, they never been through anything. So trying to counsel someone who has been abused, sexually abused, and all of that, they really can't understand. But to have someone like you that can reach out to somebody and say, listen, baby, I've been there. And you can come out. You can make it.
Yep, you can come
now,
out.
what did you get your degree in?
I got my degree, well, I have my associates as a medical assistant. I transferred from one college to another college and got my bachelor's in human services, and I just obtained my master's degree in organization management and leadership.
Well, you better go ahead, girl.
Thank you.
So proud of you, so
Thank
proud
you.
of you. Now, when you talk about the church apostle, who's we call him Daddy Doc.
Yes.
How important was your faith in this journey?
That's the one thing that pushed me and kept me going. I just remember being a young lady attending St. John's, and just the things that Apostle Wilson would tell us as young women, you know, even as a young mom, when you're sitting in church and you have your children with you, you know, your children need to be by your side. They shouldn't be roaming in the hallways. He talked about just using negative things as stepping stones to move on to the next level. Apostle Wilson is not like most ministers. He's more of I believe he's more of a leadership style, where he gives you the necessary tools to deal with day-to-day things that, you know, you face. It's not about the hooping and the howling in the pulpit. It's learning, right? And I love how he asks his congregation, "What did you learn?"
So I know your husband from being at church, Brother Ben.
Brother Ben.
Now I see you guys together, and it looks like you can just see the love flowing. Now, how much of a support system was a Brother Ben when you were going to school and all of that?
Brother Ben has been my right-hand man. People always ask me, so what did you cook today? Or how did you get through this? Or how do you get through that? And I said, in spite of what you see, Benjamin does a lot. He does a lot of the cooking and a lot of the cleaning and the washing. And my daughters also, my children, my son, they've all been supportive to me. I don't have to, you know, cook and clean and do all of that, all of those things that, you know, most women who are married, you know, have to do. It's when you go into school, you have to give up something. You can't do it all. You have to delegate. And if you have that support system there to help you delegate, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
A lot of ladies don't have that.
Yeah, they don't.
So I just had to bring up Brother Ben.
Yeah, but we know as young women, we have to delegate, right? We have older kids, and we think that, you know, I'm guilty for that, right? If I ask my kids to clean the kitchen and I go in there and I'm like, this kitchen isn't clean. And then I'll be all upset, like, you didn't clean the kitchen. Then someone had to tell me that, Monique, they did their best, and you know, just get over that. You know what I mean? They did it. They may not have done it to your liking, but it's done. So you kind of got to put the blinders on and move to the next thing.
Yeah, and yeah, you have to fight your battles.
Can't be in control of everything.
Right, exactly, exactly. I can't tell you what a pleasure this has been. But before we end the program, I want you to look, I think, at that camera there and just give a word of encouragement to some young woman or man, but, you know, my heart for the ladies. Give a word of encouragement to someone out there that, you know, that might be struggling. Just whatever's on your heart, I want you to tell it to them.
To my young mothers, to my young sisters, to my Nubian queens, I want you to know that whatever you're going through is not the end, that you will be able to come out of whatever you're going through. Just remember to put God first in everything, and He will direct your path.
I would like to thank Monique for taking the time out to be on the program today. And as I said, I've been knowing her for a long time, but I was really touched by her here on the program today, and again with the article that she wrote. And so I want to thank you all out there for watching us today, thanking you for watching diversity in the community. And once again, I want to thank you for being here, sweetheart.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, yes.
And I hope I can have you again so you can tell us some more great news of what's happening in your life.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.